Freestyle Friday. That little sing-songy song and dance thing right at the intro, that was Oh My God from the Legally Blonde musical. Yes, that is a musical. You have my husband to thank for his weird music. I'm going to have a link to that in the description below if you want to check that out for yourself. Okay, glare from the glasses. Glasses coming off. Peoples. Now, you clicked on this video for one of two reasons. You either watch my videos just because you watch my videos, which at this point is highly unlikely, because nobody watches my videos right now. Or you were searching Fullmetal Alchemist live action movie, found my video, and decided to click on it. Or maybe you were just browsing around, saw the title of my video, not even knowing that this was a thing, and were like, hey, I wonder what she's talking about. It's April Fool's Day. I wonder if this is another hoax like the one a couple of years back where there was supposedly going to be a live-action miniseries based on Fullmetal Alchemist 2003, but it turned out to be a fan-made prank. This is not a prank. I realize that it is April Fool's Day. People's timing sucks sometimes. Timing really, really sucks sometimes. But I promise you, I swear on my daughter's love, this is real, peoples. This is happening. There will be, released in Japan, a Fullmetal Alchemist live-action movie. Not an April Fool's joke. I've got like 6 links in the description if you want to check it out for yourself, because I had to check it out for myself. The first that I heard of this was from the journal of someone I watch on DeviantArt. I will put a link to their Deviant page again in the description below. There's going to be a lot of links down there in the description in addition to my usual credits. On their journal, I saw this for the first time and I was like, this is like 2 days before April Fool's Day. This has got to be another hoax. So I commented on their journal asking them to include reference links, include source material. Pics or it didn't happen, basically. Well, they did include links. They edited their page to include the resource links, which I had gone out and found on my own. I asked them, hey, give me links, and then I went out and found this information for myself. Just Google Fullmetal Alchemist live action movie, if I can speak today. Anyway, all the links that I found and that the deviant Isi-Daddy found are once again in the description below. So I can promise you, peoples, this is real. Again, this is real. This is not an April Fool's joke. This is not a hoax. This is not a prank. This is not some fan-made trailer floating around. This is real. So as soon as I found out that it was real, this is half of my brain did this. And the other half of my brain did this. Because, peoples, this has the potential to be amazeballs. But this also has the potential to be a giant train wreck. Now, I'm not doing this video to try to be the voice of negativity or to try to rain on anybody's parade or to tell anybody not to be excited about this, because I am excited about this. But at the same time, I want all of us as fans, as a collective fan base, to take a step back and look at this and go into this with realistic expectations. Because honestly, there's a lot of things that can go right but there's a lot of things that can go wrong as well. There's three main points that really that are keeping me from completely fangasming over this. The first one, and before I really go into detail and explain what the issue is, I want to make very clear that it's not just me making this an issue. It's not just American fans making this an issue. It's not just European fans making this an issue. Japanese fans are making this a point. And that's very clear to see in some of the links that I've provided in the description that you'll have to use Google Translate. Google, it'll translate, but it'll still kind of read as broken English because some things don't translate completely, don't translate literally, or translate as just kind of being off. But you'll get the basic gist, you'll get the basic point like I did. So once again, the Japanese fans are making this a point, not just the American and European ones. And before I officially make the point, I want to bring up two other live-action anime movies. Well, not one of them's not really an anime-based movie, but the entire anime community was given a giant slap in the face by the steaming pile of diuretic shit known as the live-action rendition of Dragon Ball Z. Now, I am not personally a fan of Dragon Ball Z. I can hear people screaming and rioting and coming at me with their torches and pitchforks right now, but I'm just not a fan of Dragon Ball Z. But the movie, I can still say that the movie was shit. There are people that they didn't watch they didn't watch the anime, didn't read the manga. They just thought that they could appreciate the movie for what it was, the fantasy action adventure aspect of it. No, even people who didn't know the source material going into it all agreed that it was shit. And it was even worse for the fans of Dragon Ball Z because of how horribly it apparently butchers the source material. This is because it was an American production, and you had directors and producers and actors and actresses that didn't fully respect the material they were working with. You get that a lot with American renditions of foreign productions, especially with an anime or manga based live action movie. But you're not going to have that problem. You're not going to have the problem of not having respect for your source material, since this is being made by a Japanese company, Japanese producers, directors, actors, actresses, all Japanese. One of the problems that people had with Dragon Ball, one of the plethora of problems that people had, especially fans of the anime and manga of Dragon Ball Z, one of the problems that they had was the whitewashing, because all the characters that were supposed to have been should have been portrayed as Japanese or otherwise Asian, they were white. And the whitewashing was a big problem for fans. Also, with Avatar: The Last Airbender, even though that was an American anime-esque cartoon, Aaaaand, the main character, was still supposed to be Asian and he was white in the live action, and that angered a lot of people. Now, looking at the Fullmetal Alchemist live action movie, what we're going to be facing here is the opposite problem. Now, once again, it's not just me, it's not just American fans, it's not just European fans, it's not just white fans, it's Japanese fans. The Japanese are one of the proudest races in history. And they are making the point that, how are we doing this? The characters aren't Japanese. The characters, the majority of main characters, not all of them, but the majority of main characters are white. Arakawa has even explicitly stated that her world of Fullmetal Alchemist was inspired by and based on pre-World War II Europe, specifically Germany. It's very obvious in the architecture, the style of the military uniforms. The leader of Amestris is even called the Führer. And so one of the big points of Fullmetal Alchemist, of the manga, of Brotherhood, and even of 2003, which I'm going to point out right now, all the sources do state that this movie will be based on the manga and Brotherhood, not 2003, even though I think 2003 would probably translate better into a live action than the storyline of the manga and Brotherhood, but more on that later. One of the major points is there's a lot of racial diversity. Even though, like I said, a lot of the main characters are white, how are we handling Ishvalans? Like, I don't see. I know there's such a thing as makeup. I know there's such a thing as, wigs. I know there's such a thing as hair dye and colored contacts. But honestly, I don't see an all-Japanese cast pulling off the Ishvalan characters. Also, there's Peninia, who is black. There's General Raven, who is also black. There's the Leorians, even though the manga in 2003 portrayed them as kind of dark-skinned and implied that they had a shared ancestry with Ishvalans, but in Brotherhood they were all whitewashed, and we're not even going to go into that right now. But I don't see an all-Japanese cast being able to portray the racial diversity that is key in Fullmetal Alchemist. Now, it's possible, if we have good actors, and we have good effects, and we have good direction, it's possible that we can at least do justice to this. I'm hoping. I don't see how it's possible, but yet again, if it's done right, possibly they could do justice and respect the racial diversity of Fullmetal Alchemist and the different races portrayed there. The second thing that worries me about something as long and in-depth and multifaceted as the story of Fullmetal Alchemist being translated into a live-action movie is the fact that, I don't remember how many chapters or volumes there were in the manga. I never actually fully read the manga all the way through. I just saw both anime. But 61 episodes in Brotherhood, 61 30-minute episodes plus 4 OVAs. You do the math, because Wyan has a headache and is too lazy to do so. But you have all this storyline leading up to the ending, most of which has to happen in order to achieve that ending. There's not a lot of, in Brotherhood and in the manga, there's not a lot of filler space that you can really cut that would still end up having the same ending as you do in the manga and Brotherhood. One anime-based live-action movie that was Japanese-made that I want to use as an example of this is Death Note. That's the only other Japanese-made live-action anime-based film that I have seen is Death Note, and I loved it because I read the Death Note manga. I never saw the anime, and at least I saw a couple episodes. I haven't watched it all the way through, but I read the manga, and what the Death Note live-action movie did was spectacular. It took basically the first 2 volumes of the manga and translated it into a movie, but it had its own ending. Like, the ending was completely different, even though most of the storyline, as far as the first 2 volumes go, pretty much matched up in the movie. They just had to translate it into a different ending. Because something a lot of fans of books that have been turned into movies, I can't stress this enough on to fans of books like The Hunger Games, there are a lot of things that can be written or animated or drawn out in a graphic novel that just don't translate well to live action. Whether it be because of it wouldn't be interesting, or it wouldn't be realistic to do so because it was unrealistic in the source material, which you see a lot of in anime and manga. But there are just... people have to understand. Fellow Fullmetal Alchemist fans, I need you to understand this. There are things that would not, cannot, will not translate from the manga and from the anime to a live action movie. Not just because of all that I just said, but because of time. Like I said, you have 61 episodes, and we're trying to put this storyline into a 2.5 to 3 hour live action film. It's just not going to work. There are a lot of things that are going to get cut, and it's not going to have exactly the same storyline. It's not going to have exactly the same ending. Some of your favorite subplots are going to get chucked in the bin. Some of my favorite subplots I know will get chucked in the bin. So we have to go into this prepared that it's not going to be a direct translation of the manga or of Brotherhood. Now, I mentioned earlier that I thought 2003 would translate better. Not only does 2003 have fewer episodes, but a lot of those episodes are fillers. And you have a lot of things like that can be shaved off of the story in order to have a movie that does the storyline of 2003 a little bit more justice and flow more closely. Now, granted, they did have to do a separate movie to conclude 2003, i.e. Conqueror of Shambhala, but I think a live-action movie could pull it off. Now, a point that I made when I was doing my fan casting project on DeviantArt, if you don't know what fan casting is, you basically take a book or a comic or an anime or a manga or a cartoon or something, and you pick out the actors that you think could do well in portraying that character in a live-action production. And I did a project on this. It's not completely finished. I don't have a full cast. I have most of the main characters. That is yet another thing that I will link you in the description below. But anyway, a point that I made when I was doing that project was that this movie, in order to encompass the storyline and in order to do the storyline justice, should be a trilogy. Now, I don't know if this movie is going to be a trilogy. This news is like 3 or 4 days old. So we don't know a whole heck of a lot if this is going to be one standalone movie or if this is going to be a trilogy. Knowing Japan, it would probably be just one movie. Now, if this was a Hollywood production, it'd be more likely that we'd see a trilogy, but that's unlikely. So, for the final time, go into this knowing, understanding, and expecting that we are not going to have a movie that's going to match the manga and Brotherhood. It's going to have probably slightly a different storyline. A lot of your favorite scenes, a lot of your favorite parts are going to get cut. Probably a lot of characters will get cut, and it's not going to have an ending comparable to that of Brotherhood. Now, hopefully, it will still do the plot and do what Death Note did. Changing the things that they have to change for the sake of translating into live action and for the sake of time. They're going to change the things that they have to change while still staying true to the feeling and to the spirit and to all the underlying concepts. If they do that, then it'll be good. But it has to be done well, it has to be done right, it has to be done by someone who knows what the crap they're doing. Unlike, once again, with the Dragon Ball Z, in between takes of this video my husband pointed out to me, reminded me, something I knew, I just forgot to mention, that the people that made Dragon Ball Z had never read a single page of the manga or seen a single episode of the anime. They just read a synopsis and decided, let's do our own thing. They decided, and that's what their movie ended up being. But again, we're not going to have that problem with a Japanese production. So we're going to have people that respect their source material, and so hopefully we will have people that are going to do the story justice. Only time will tell. The third thing that I'm worried about with a Japanese production specifically is graphics and special effects. Japan is not known for being strong in this. That's more the United States' strong suit. Now, I'm not saying one country is better at making movies in general than the other. Japan, whereas the United States can make just these spectacular graphics, spectacular CG, spectacular effects, as we've seen in a lot of recent blockbuster hits, we're sacrificing storyline, plotline, character development, dynamics of we're focusing on effects and not on story. Japan tends to go the opposite route. They can contrive the most brilliant stories, the most amazing plots, the most intricate characters that most American productions don't pull off. So one country is talented in one area where another country is talented in another. Now, Japan apparently knows this about themselves, that special effects, CG, that's not their strong point. They know this about themselves, and so they are collaborating with an Italian company. I'm going to put the name of the company across the screen because while I'm editing, because I don't remember it off the top of my head. But since they are collaborating with that Italian company, hopefully that's going to cover some of their weaknesses CGI-wise. Hopefully. That's, once again, only time will tell on that. Now, there's one last thing that worries me, and it has absolutely nothing to do with what the quality of this movie will be. We all know that Funimation owns the rights to Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. But in order for this movie to be made, they had to sell and sign over those rights to another company. This company, I don't know what company this is. I will find out and I will tell you, peoples. But I'm worried with the rights changing over. I'm worried about two things. One, I'm worried about Funimation's YouTube channel. What is going to happen to all of their videos of Fullmetal Alchemist? Because that's where I've been getting most of my screenshots from, is the videos off of their channel. So what's going to happen to those? Are they going to have to take those down because they no longer own the rights? Are the videos still going to be available but monetized by this new company? Speaking of content rights and monetization, what's going to happen to the content creators who use images, sound bites, and video clips in their content? Because so far Funimation has been pretty chill. They have treated the content creators who use their material under the terms of fair use pretty fairly. They're not like companies like TV Tokyo, who you say the name of one of their anime and they're going to strike your video. This new company that's going to be taking over the rights, I don't know who they are. I don't know what their reputation is. I don't know how well they are going to respect the copyright how well, as copyright holders, they're going to respect the content creators. Are they going to take hold of this and then immediately go out and try to prove their balls by saying, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine, and start striking and claiming everything they can get their grubby little hands on? Because Funimation hasn't done that to us. But I'm afraid this new company will. Very nervous about this new company and what this means for my channel and channels like it. But I still know my rights, and hopefully this new company does as well. Well, peoples, if you've happened across this video, got interested in this video by the title, clicked on it, listened to my giant rant, now is the perfect time to subscribe. Because the What's in a Name channel is going to be your one-stop shop for Fullmetal Action. Why do I keep trying? You know what? I keep accidentally saying that, so that's just what I'm going to call it. Fullmetal Action. This channel will be your one-stop shop for Fullmetal Action news, because I am going to keep myself posted, and I will keep you posted. If breaking news comes out, I'm not going to wait for Fullmetal Friday. I will post special videos to let you peoples know as soon as I know anything new that comes up. Subscribe to my channel. I will keep my peoples posted. And that will be all for today. That is all for this week of Fullmetal Friday. I will see you next week on Fullmetal Friday, or tomorrow on the Saturday Showdown.